Alright, y'all, I'm gonna be straight with you. My daughter's asleep right now, so I'm gonna be kind of quiet. But I was on the Chompy app, and I noticed if you scroll all the way down the Chompy app, they have a tier list. And I was looking at their tier list, and it is such bullshit, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it has every single fucking Skylander on that tier list, and you absolutely cannot know if a Skylander is good or bad before it is max level, awakened, 6-star, +5, all skills maxed. That is the only way you can determine if a Skylander is good, because say you could have a Starcast, right? And you could think he's the best thing ever. Like, I love Starcast right now. I use him everywhere all the time, but I'm not putting him on the tier list because I do not have him fully skilled. I do not have him 6-star +5. He is awakened, but whenever you get to that point at that end game for that Skylander or that monster or whatever, there's absolutely no way you know if he's good or not. Because for all I know, whenever Starcast gets maxed, his multipliers could be like shit compared to like a Buckshot when Buckshot gets maxed. And also they had the tier list was updated on May 14th, and that's like when Drobot and Headrush came out, was when they came out, and they were already on the tier list. Like, there's absolutely no motherfucking way anybody had Headrush or Drobot maxed and like were able to even put it on that tier list. So what I'm gonna do is I have here all the images of guys that I have seen in Arena that are completely maxed, right? These are the guys that I've seen be completely built, be completely, finished. And they're ones that I've seen like more than once, right? So I don't just see one guy and then go through one scenario with that Skylander and then I'm like, oh, this guy's shit, this guy's perfect. Like, no, you have to fight multiple times to see what they're good at. Like, they all have different skills. You have to make sure that you fight them all with all their different skills. So anyways, I'm just getting all that out of the way to explain why I'm doing this and why that Chompy tier list is such fucking shit. So anyways, here's my tier list based on guys that I've seen fully built multiple times in Arena. Now we'll start with Ambush. Now Ambush has great single target potential. He is completely able to get rid of all the boomers that are on defense. There's a lot of boomers on defense, and if somebody's bringing like a boomer on offense and you have the ambush on defense, he's going to focus the boomer or the chain reaction, because people will be starting to get into chain reaction right now. He's going to focus them and take them out. He has a really good base attack. His multipliers are really high. He has low mana cost for his abilities. He's self-buffing, self-shielding, and he has resistances to, of course, tech, which is one of the most popular people to use in Arena is chain reaction and boomer right now. So, but there's also a lot of people using fire. He has no element advantage to fire, no element disadvantage to fire. He's completely neutral, but his kill potential is so high that I'm going to go ahead and say that he's on A tier, because you pull him into battle, he can instantly, with that 5 mana move, he can instantly move in and kill somebody right off the bat, turn it into a 2v3. He has a self shield. If you want your other people to do their attacks first, he has a charge, and he has like a 0 mana attack that also is just an attack. 3 of his skills cost no fucking mana, right? The shield costs no mana, the charge skill costs no mana, the first skill costs no mana. Like, he's just a really well-rounded character with a lot of nuke potential, and that's why I'm going to put him in A. Barbella is one of those guys that whenever I see an Arena, I know I need to be extra careful, and I have to like make sure I bring the right guys to the fight. She's able to like counter whenever she blocks. She has high block rate, high endurance, has an endurance increasing leader skill. Keeping in mind, endurance doesn't really help you that much in Arena unless you're bringing a tank team versus a tank team, and it is possible to time out and just get a draw, so I don't think anybody would want to bring a tank team versus a tank team. If you do, make sure that you can kill him in time. But she's a really good unit to have as like one tank in your defense or one tank in your offense, because she'll pull aggro, she'll block a lot of the time, she has a lot of AoEs. The AoEs don't do much damage, but they can start to wear down the endurance if you're looking at a long fight. So for this reason, because she has to provoke and she's really AoE, capable, she's definitely going to be at least a B, at least an A. Now the reason these guys aren't going in S tier is, I'll tell you why. There's some people that are in S tier that just like dead ass deserve to be in S tier, that knock all these guys down a tier pretty much. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that Barbella also in A tier. So hold on, sorry. Barbella is also an A tier, just because she's really hard to like take out. She's a perfect unit if you just need that one tanky unit in your team to like stop you from losing quick enough to where maybe you could put out Spitfire bombs, you could put out your Boomer bombs, and if they get one shot, you don't have to worry about your Barbella getting one shot. So she could kind of prolong the fight until those bombs go off and maybe get you a win. Now this is something I saw in the S tier on Chompy that I was like, why the fuck? Boomer was S tier on Chompy. Now, I just want to point out something real quick. Just because something is OU means overused, does not mean that it is OP, overpowered. Like, you could see something all day, every day. That doesn't mean it's an overpowered unit, right? This guy, his bomb scale off of your attack, and as a Nat 3, his base attack isn't like super great. So if you put all of your best fucking strike runes on him, like 30% attack subs on every rune, you could maybe pull out 6 or 7k for bomb damage from him. So because of his base, Nat 3 stats, I would normally put him a little lower, but he has a trick to him that's like his ability will knock down the bomb counters. Like how I said, if you brought Barbella to prolong the fight to make your bomb counters go down faster, he just deadass makes them go down faster, and that attack is also a nuke, so that's really nice. But as I said, because of his stats, if you had those same runes I was talking about, like on a Spitfire, those bombs are going to do like way more damage just because his base attack is so much higher. And he's also tech, right? So grass or life, whatever it's called in this fucking game, is super effective against tech. So everybody starts with a stealth elf. Like, you get 500 stealth elf pieces just dead ass from the story. So you do not ever have to worry about having something to kill this guy. You can always one-shot him with a stealth elf. No problem whatsoever. So for this reason, I'm going to go ahead and say that he's in the B tier. It's because he's so easy to kill. His the bomb multiplier is based off his base stats. The Nat 3 and below got a nerf to his base stats. Maybe he was S tier before that happened, and he did like just as much damage as Spitfire, but as of now, he does not. So B tier. Next is Buckshot. So the thing with Buckshot is he's magic, right? So all these tech guys are going to be able to hurt the Buckshot. A lot of people have Boomer right now. A lot of people have Chain. So it's pretty easy to kill a Buckshot, like no problem. One hit, he has like not good, defensive HP-ish base stats. Like all he's really good for is nuking. But again, he has one of those attacks that whenever you start the battle, it has a chance to activate, right? So the thing with these skills is whenever you start the battle and you have a chance to activate a skill, if that skill activates, this one does not do any fucking damage. Like, I've had really strong Buckshots activate this thing. It only does like 2,000 damage. It's so weak. And whenever that procs, you can only queue 2 other attacks. So it's not like you get a free attack, right? He's still taking the time to do that attack. The animation takes like 4 or 5 seconds. So you could have that attack in and then queue 2 of your real attacks, but they could also queue in all 3 of theirs, and then that's the end of you. Like, a passive ability should help you. It shouldn't ruin you. And his passive ability can absolutely ruin, like, you. But he does have ability to do a lot of damage. So just because he has a high base attack and has good nuke potential, keeping in mind that nuke is on kind of a long cooldown too. So it's not like you could just start the battle with it. I'm going to put this guy at C tier. Feel free, by the way, to absolutely disagree with me on all this. Like, that's completely up to you. All I'm saying is arena is like the only thing I enjoy in this game, and I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on it, if you know what I'm saying. Next is Chain. Big boy Chain. I'm not even going to hover around it. We're going to pop him up to S. I'm sure everybody knows why. He has that Thunder Slam. It goes down to 5 mana, less than a second initial cooltime, so you can instantly start the fight with Thunder Slam. It has a really great multiplier. I've done 11k damage to Spitfires, you know, especially all these fire guys and magic guys that people have out right now. You can start the fight with this Thunder Slam that instantly can one-shot some of the weaker fire guys, like the weaker defense fire guys. You get your mana back, you can do it again and again and again just until you win. Like, the running with chainsaws ignore defense goes down to 3 mana. You could combo a Thunder Slam into a running with chainsaws, and that's the whole fucking fight, dude, in like 2 attacks in less than 3 seconds. Now, there's ways to counter it, of course, if you brought, you know, Ambush, Barbella, Stealth Elf. He doesn't have element advantage against these guys, so he's not going to kill him. And his defense is super fucking low. Like, he has less defense than Super Shot Stealth Elf. So, defense, way low. Way, way low. Easy to be killed. But just that initial cooltime on that Thunder Slam is so fast that he has to be in S tier, because so many people have Spitfire, Ninjini, Igniter, Kaboom on their team right now, because like those are their B10 monsters. It's way easy to find people with those in their arena defense. Just go straight on them, use a Thunder Slam, kill the Ninjini, or the Kaboom, get your mana back, and then use a running with chainsaws to kill whoever else. I've used him like well over fucking 2,000 arena matches at this point. He never fails me. Like, the only time he fails me is when he glances, and everybody has that chance to glance. That's not, like, his fault if he glances, right? Next is Chill. Chill has a Provoke, an AoE defense buff. She also has an attack that does endurance damage, that hits 3 units. Now, people say that 3 units in Arena is good. It's actually, like, not, because ever since that minion update or the villain update, that you can get a villain out in 5 seconds, and then that could completely throw off your attacks that only hit 3 people. She's only good for really pulling aggro and soaking damage. And if you've seen my previous videos, all those teams that are just like built for pulling aggro, built for soaking damage, they never fucking work. Like, they never ever work. So, I mean, she's also able to freeze people that attack her, so if for some chance you could get off the Provoke in time before they kill your nukers, then she would be good. But I mean, the initial cooldown on that is too long. Like I say, if you bring, you know, chain reaction and fucking you have Kaboom on the team with Chill, nothing's going to stop the chain reaction from doing a Thunder Slam and just killing your nukers. Then all they have to do is work on this Chill. So I am not a fan of tanks in Arena. That being said, she also has Nat 3 base stats, so she's not as tanky as she could be. I'm going to put her in the C tier just because she has a defense buff that goes on your whole team. Very nice. And can also pull aggro. Crusher. This guy is really tanky. On top of being really tanky, he also has mad one-shot potential. Like, he can one-shot somebody dead ass. No matter who the fuck you have on your team, he can one-shot them unless you have like 30k HP, and nobody has 30k HP on their guys. He's so tanky, you shouldn't be able to kill him in one hit. So, for this reason, I'm going to say he is... God, I'm caught between A and S. I'm thinking he's an S just because I have never not seen him be able to one-shot somebody. Of course, there's a way to counter it. If you've seen some of my arenas, I always bring the Chomp Chest versus him. So no matter who he's attacking, the Chomp Chest makes them invincible. And then when they're invincible, you know, he does 0 damage. Just like even if he does 60,000 damage, he does 0 damage when that chomp chest comes out. So there's counters, but there's counters to everything. No one really has the chomp chest built yet until, you know, people start realizing that all these one-shot guys are meta. So then people will start to build the chomp chest and he might drop a tier. But for now, I'm going to say he's S tier because there's like nothing you can do. If this guy uses his gaze attack and he one-shots your guy, that guy is one-shot. I don't fucking care who that guy is. If he doesn't glance, if he hits them with it, they're done. That's the end of him. And he's so tanky, you can't really kill him in one hit. Now this one is super easy for me to decide where they go. You will probably disagree with me, but I'm going to explain why I'm choosing to put her where I'm about to put her. First of all, her AI, if you put her in your arena and you're autoing at the beginning of the week, or she's on your defense, her AI is stupid. It will, I swear to God, it will sit there and do fucking nothing. She will just sit there and do absolutely fucking nothing until she's the last person left. And then when she's the last person left, it's a complete waste of time. Like, there's no point in even using her anymore. Her heal, it says it's based off her max HP. I've had her built with a pretty high max HP. It still doesn't heal a lot. It heals maybe, you know, 5,000 on a really good build. On top of that, the cooldown is really long. It says that it, you know, removes the debuff counter. That doesn't mean it completely removes the debuffs. I haven't seen it remove debuffs. Debuffs aren't really meta except for the bombs, and bombs are slowly falling away. Now with Diminish being stronger, everyone's still using bombs because the bombs are out, but again, bombers are usually fire types. Chain reaction takes care of all the bombers. Her charge skill that puts an hourglass on your team, so she'll use her charge skill. Whenever you activate it, it puts an attack buff on your team, but it puts a hourglass timer on the guy with the highest attack. Now whenever this unit gets attacked, the counter goes down 3, 2, 1, and then on that next attack, it resets his HP to the point where she used it. And the problem with this is, if she's using it on the one with the highest attack, there's no fucking way they're going to live through that many attacks, especially if it's not like an AI problem. If somebody can focus your guy with the highest attack, they'll probably die on one or two hits. Second problem with this is, if for some reason she uses it again before that counter is finished, the counter resets. So you could have your, say, chain reaction with the hourglass on him. He gets hit down to 3, or gets hit down to 2, down to 1, and then before he gets hit again to reset his HP, she could pop that again. The counter goes back up to 3. Like, she is just absolute in need of a buff right now. I am like 100% certain she needs a major buff, and until she gets that major buff, she's in D tier for me. Like, D tier is just, like I said, S tier is those guys that are just way up there that knock some of the best guys down a tier. This D tier is some of the guys that are so fucking bad, they knock guys that are bad up a tier, right? Like, she's one of those that is so bad, she will knock people up a tier. Astro Blast, one of those situations I explained. Overused does not mean overpowered. He has an ability that is a pretty short initial cooldown that, you know, hits 4 times and does a lot of damage. The problem with this is it hits random enemies, right? So if you brought a Crusher and say 2 of them hit the Crusher survives, you have your minion out at that point. By the time he uses it, if 1 or 2 of them hit a Gulper, that's a completely wasted skill. And then, you know, he's dead. He has not very high tankiness. He's mostly just used for that initial point to kill people. And then after that, he's pretty much done. After he uses that attack, his usefulness has been spent until he can use that attack again. But because it has random targeting, there's no guarantee it's going to hit, you know, the Spitfire. There's no guarantee it's going to hit the chain. No guarantee it's going to hit, you know, whoever strong unit they have. It could very well glance a Gearshift and hit a Flashwing and just like set off the enemy team to be better off than whenever you started. That being said, it does a lot of fucking damage. So if you do get lucky and like you bring it versus a team that has 3 nukers, you could kill all 3 of them with 1 attack. Now, killing all 3 of them with 1 attack is not, going to happen every time. So because that's not going to happen every time, I'm going to... Sorry, let me let out this dog. This dog is going nuts. Now, because this isn't going to happen every time and it's based off RNG, it's up to the person, right? Like, some people have great RNG. They always get what they need to happen every time. Some people have terrible RNG. They always get what they need not to happen every time. Now, if it's me, shit that I need to happen in RNG is not going to happen every time. I would much rather prefer something to be 100% chance to happen. I would rather have dive clops with 100% chance to put a shield than Gearshift, who has, a chance to put a shield if she doesn't glance on. I'm going to put him in A tier just because he can do a lot of damage with that ability, but it's really dependent on the RNG of the game, it's all dependent on RNG. I am not a fan of RNG. Ember, she has a little bit of tankiness rolled in with her insane damage, right? She can do a lot of damage, and she can soak up a little bit of damage, but she's single target, so she only really has a chance to knock out one person. She can counter those chain reactions in defense if the chain reaction does not kill her first, right? Because the chain reaction will have element advantage against her. I don't know if I said that reverse, but chain reaction has element advantage against her. One running with chainsaws, even fully built ones, I've never had a running with chainsaws not kill an Ember, even if she has like an HP slot 6. Her deflect damage, she doesn't really get it off, Even if she does get it off, if she dies at the same time that this person is killing her, it's essentially a 2v2. She still had to use a skill to get that ability up. It's not like, it just happened out of nowhere for free with no mana cost. So I'm going to say she's a B tier just because she does have single target killing potential, but a lot of her kit seems wasted in arena to me. Now, food fight, I've seen fully built food fights. The targeting, he hits somebody, it targets them. Another thing based off RNG, some people have resistance on their guys, right? He also does decent damage for being a healer, but he has those nat 3 base stats. So because of those nat 3 base stats, he doesn't do a lot of damage. He can't take a lot of damage. Really good for PvE, super good for PvE. I have seen him built in PvP. Every time I fight him in PvP, I just kind of leave him alone, kill the guys that are doing damage to my team, and then I can take him out. He's not going to solo my team, So, for this being said, I'm going to kind of speed it up a little bit. I'll put him in the C tier. Never really does what he's intended to do whenever you pull him out and put him on your team. Never really seems to do what you want him to do whenever he's on AD. Sometimes he doesn't land the target, Sometimes your team dies before they even get the chance to heal, and the heal isn't going to full heal them every time someone attacks. It's just a little bit of a heal every time they attack. It's not like he's a godsend. Next is Freeze Blade. Freeze Blade has mad AoEs. AoEs on the left, AoEs on the right. Problem with all these AoEs is a lot of people have Gearshift on their AD. So with the AoEs, you're always probably going to hit the Gearshift, which gives you more of a chance to activate her passive. That will just set you up to fail. But if you bring him versus a team that doesn't have a Gearshift, all those AoEs are definitely going to help you out. He does a lot of damage, has 2-part attacks where he does an AoE, can put on freeze debuffs, do more AoEs to work a team down. But a problem with AoEs as well, if somebody has Flashwing or an AoE healer, you can pretty much negate all the damage. It's a lot more worth it to bring a single target that has potential to, ruin just their comp, make it a 2v3, make it a 1v3 or a 1v2, and then finish off. If you bring all these AoEs, it's way harder to kill all 3 guys at one time than it is to just kill them off one at a time. But he has good base attack for being a nat 4, and because of all these comps that have just a bunch of bombers in them right now, he's probably going to be in the A tier because he will definitely take care of those teams. No problem whatsoever. How many more guys we got? Damn, dude. Alright, I am going to speed this up because I did not realize how many guys I had on here that I have seen fully built. So, moving straight along, Igniter has long initial cooldowns, base 3 stats, does a lot of damage, can definitely kill somebody in one hit, but he is also dependent on bombs to reach his full potential. So if you get that bomb resisted, he's no longer going to do his flame slash, he's not going to be able to do all these crazy attacks, and he has high mana cost. He's a nat 3 with nat 3 base stats. Chain reaction counters him again. Anybody can get a chain reaction, by the way. It's not like I'm just bringing up chain reaction. He's unattainable. You could even get him through Master Eons. It's not like he's complete. Gonna put Igniter in the B tier because the mana cost is too high. His base stats are pretty low. And if you put those same runes, like, on an Ember, that would probably bump her up to an A tier versus being in the same tier as him. Jet-Vac does decent damage, is very supporty, very reliant on healing. I don't feel like healing is the best for Arena right now because that tower at the top, it creeps down, it does 800 damage, 1200 damage, 1600 damage. It's like really nothing. This guy can do more damage than the tower does. You don't really want to stall out waiting for that tower. I'm going to say he's in the C tier because he does have, there's going to be situations in any comp where you could bring any guy and they instantly go into A tier whenever you're fighting versus that team. But this is just in a general statement in the meta right now. He is not good versus like all these, teams that have super nuky potential. Kingpin does damage based off enemy defense, or was it his own defense? Until I know for 100%, I'm not going to put Kingpin up there. I'm only going to put people up there that I know for 100%. Okay, Kaboom has the bombs, great. Has an attack debuff, also great. His base stats are so fucking low. Like, the bomb is based off of your attack, but his bomb has a low cooldown, so if for some crazy fucking reason you're able to get 2 of them off, that could possibly, match the damage you could do with a Spitfire, right? I'm going to put him in the C tier, just because anything can one-shot him. You can bring anything to one-shot this guy, unless you have him on like an HP slot 6, and then at that point, you might as well have not brought him anyways because the bombs aren't really doing much. Nightmare. I'm going to take a second. On Nightmare. Nightmare has crazy good base HP. She also has this Titanium Flamberge attack that, whenever she uses it, keep in mind it does cost a lot of mana, but it will kill somebody. I've seen it do 8,000, 8,000, 8,000. I've seen it crit for 12,000, 12,000, 12,000. Nobody's living through that. She doesn't have element disadvantage versus anything, so she could pretty much go against anything and do the same, rotation to bring him down. It costs 6 mana, it refunds 2 mana, and when you kill it, refunds 2 mana again. There's been so many times I underestimated the Nightmare, and I went straight for the Spitfire or straight for the Ember. And then the Nightmare, Titanium Flamberge is my chain, Titanium Flamberge is my super shot, Titanium Flamberge is my starcast, all in less than 10 seconds, and solos my whole fucking team. Like, she's no joke, not to be trifled with, not to be underestimated. She does a shit ton of fucking damage for being a support type, as well as being a support type. She has a lot of HP, and that leader skill, anytime she kills anybody, everybody gets a nice heal. Like, she is dead ass on the S tier. Like, there's no way she's not on the S tier. If you have not gone against a very strong Nightmare yet, like, I don't want you to hurt yourself or to, make yourself angry, but trust me, just bring a team versus, if you see a 6-star Awakened Nightmare, just bring it against it, and then save her for last. She will wipe you. She will definitely wipe you. Crypt King, Diminish got a buff, Nat 3's got a nerf. That's no different than talking about Kaboom. So his cooldown was also increased. He's been nerf. No different than all these Nat 2s. that are now down in C tier, but since Diminish is a little bit stronger than Bombs in my opinion, it ticks every turn. It's you also get like endurance damage out of it. The cooldown is just way longer now. He's in the B tier, and then Hex would be in the A. Is Hex even on here? Hex should be on here. I don't know where she is. Anyways, Hex would be on the A tier for the same reason, just because Diminish does so much damage and Hex has base attack that's pretty high, so Hex would have been in the A tier. Lightning Rod, we will put in... Alright, first of all, that leader skill, garbage. Do not bring the leader skill in Arena. It only does 1 endurance damage. It takes so much time to activate because of the animation. The animation activates anytime anybody attacks. It gives the enemy team a lot of time to queue up their abilities, a lot of time to like max their charge skills and get that going, a lot of time to regain their mana. So if you're bringing him, do not put him in a leader skill. He does have a crit buff that only costs 1 mana. The crit buff has like a 5-second initial cooldown, so you're probably not getting that crit buff off before your team attacks. His base stats are really low. He's in that 3. He has low base stats in all 3. He has low HP, low defense, low attack. But the multiplier on his Electrical Storm, the AoE, is pretty high. So it does more damage than it should do for him being in that 3. That doesn't mean it does good damage. But it also puts on Electric Shock. Electric Shock, like I said before, is endurance damage. In Arena, you're probably not knocking somebody down before you kill them. He's going to be a solid B tier from me. Light Jet-Vac can do decent, not good. Definitely not good, but he can do decent damage. He's one of those annoying, like, people to go against that just heals, recovers endurance, recovers, heals, and puts on a shield, heal. But that's not to stop him from being targeted last. That's not to stop him from being one-shot even by like a good ignored defense attack. He's still going to be A tier for me just because he can be... I don't know why I said he could be one-shot. He cannot be one-shot is why he's going in A tier. Unless you like bring a Crusher or you bring the Nightmare. Even my running with chainsaws, I've had running with chainsaws crit on him for like 3.5k. It still doesn't kill him. Like, he can be super tanky. He's one of those perfect units I was talking about earlier. If you need your time for your bombs to go off, he would be a good unit to do that, because even if he gets down to a 1v1, he's pretty well off in a 1v1 depending on who he goes against. He's going to be an A tier. Mysticat sounds nice. He sounds really nice. He has a good leader skill. I'll give him that. He has a good leader skill. He's able to recover mana, able to do an AoE. He has a charge skill. The problem is, for being an expert type, he is not as tanky as he should be. And he doesn't do as much damage as an attack type. So, anytime you go against him, if you just focus him real quick, you could knock him down in 1 or 2 hits. And he, like, becomes... Oh my god, sorry about that. Okay, anyways, sorry, I just got a text that I was just like, why the fuck did I get that text while I'm recording this video? That's my fault. Anyways, going to be an A tier for the leader skill, for the off chance that you were able to like bring chain, get a Thunder Slam off, and he lived long enough to do the attack to recover mana, to get a second Thunder Slam. He's one of those situational guys that, could be good in certain situations, is probably not good in a lot of others. Now, I'm sorry, his stats are just so low. He's so easy to kill. He's going to have to be in B, because you can kill him really easily. I'm starting to realize I should not have put all these guys on this list, because this video is going to be long as hell. We'll start working from right to left. Wildstorm. Dude, Wildstorm? This guy is one of those guys with an AoE that has one-shot capability. When you're talking about Chain has the capability to one-shot a Kaboom, this fucking guy has capability to one-shot a lot of stuff. He does crazy fucking damage. And that cooldown is like low. Whenever you get them killed, he can just spam it. So he uses it, the AoE once, kill somebody, and he could just spam it again and wipe your team. I actually have it recorded in a video, him pretty much one-shotting my entire team and then just using it again to wipe me. Easy S tier. He's also Wind type. So he's going to be easy to kill with, like, you know, shit like Ember. But how many people have an Ember fully built right now? Super easy S tier. Just like damage master. He does so much fucking damage. It's unreal. Wildfire. I have seen him built on so many different builds. People try and put attack on slot 6. People try and make him super tanky. People try and do all this. No matter what you do, he doesn't do a lot of damage. He doesn't have a lot of defensive capability. Chain reaction, you know, running with chainsaws, one-shot him all day, every day. He's, like, not as efficient as just bringing anyone else. Super shit. Like, he's not the worst, so he gets to go in C tier. Wham Shell, again, he has that attack that's based off his defense, so it's nice. Does not do a lot of damage. Like, the most you could probably get out of it is like 7 or 8k. It's not going to be enough to one-shot somebody. That shield is one of those abilities, like I said, it takes time to activate, takes up a turn. They could queue up 3 attacks. The shield isn't going to save you, you know, from fucking everything. And the defense buff does no damage. His cooldowns are super long, has base stats of a nat 3. He is not complete shit. He can be a wall if you're doing the bomb thing, but I mean, you need that shield to proc. I do not like that shield. It doesn't always proc. Even if it does proc, it just wastes time, gives them plenty of time to kill your nukers. Wham Shell, D tier. Sorry guys, whenever you start fighting guys like nat 5s, like these guys that are fully built on 6-star runes plus 15, you know, you're probably going to agree with me that Wham Shell is a terrible pick. Now, Whirlwind. Even though Whirlwind is a nat 2, right? Nat 2 has nat 2 base stats. She can do decent damage with that pellet that fires and does a bonus hit with electric shock. It could do like, you know, 7 or 8k per hit, which if it hits 2 guys, it's not going to one-shot either one of them. And the charge skill takes time to put up, but the charge skill also does decent damage and also gives you heals. So she's not S tier, that's for sure. Just because of her base stats. If she had higher base stats, she could possibly make it to S. I've had Whirlwind mess me up a couple times. If you save the Whirlwind for last, it's very easy for the Whirlwind to be able to, you know, make a comeback just by herself. She's good in a 1v1. She's good in a 1v3 whenever she has all of her, you know, attacks up. She could get those out in time. But just because she doesn't have nat 5 base stats, I'm afraid she is an A and not an S. Moving on, Wallop. He has a skill that does fixed damage based off his attack. Now, whenever you fully skill that up, it goes up to 20%, which is absolutely psychotic. It does not do shit. If you have 10k attack, right? If you have 10,000 fucking attack on your... Did I call him Wham Shell? What the fuck is his name? Wallop. If he has 10,000 attack, if that's fully skilled up, and that's probably your best runes that get you up to 10k attack with him, considering he has nat 3 base stats, it's only going to do 2,000 damage. 2,000 damage AoE is garbage dog shit, absolutely nothing. He has another attack that is kind of strong on a lower cooldown, but single target. Just complete waste of space, complete waste of time. Should not be used. Should not even really be fucking considered. Rollerball, one of those guys that has long initial cooldowns, but whenever she gets those cooldowns up, if she's the last one standing, or if she has an attack buff, she could absolutely one-shot your entire team. Like, if you bring 3 attackers, she absolutely has that capability to one-shot everybody on your team. Problem with the AoEs, like I said before, people are bringing Gearshift. If she glances on the Gearshift, that completely ruins everything. So you do not want to bring her against a Gearshift. Almost like 95% of people are using Gearshift right now. Not good. Definitely puts her in the A tier. Because these people that are only reliant on their AoEs are going to be easily countered by the Gearshifts, countered by shields, countered by defense buffs, countered by AoE heals like Flash Wing and all that. So, not perfect. Nightfall. Okay, so the thing with Nightfall, she puts on the diminish. The diminish will kill you, dead ass. No doubt about it, the diminish will kill one of your guys. Problem is, the diminish ticks turn by turn. So if she puts the diminish on, puts like 2 counters of diminish on your guy, he has half his health left, he could still get that attack in, which if you had brought somebody who just had one-shot potential like, you know, Igniter, the diminish may not be as useful as if you had somebody that could have just one-shot you right off the bat. So, while she has great single nuke potential, she's going to have to be in C. Also doesn't have good tanky base stats. Snapshot, Nat 2 stats, has a lot of AoEs, does a lot of endurance damage, can do some pretty decent damage, but not tanky, easy to kill. Base stats are low. He just has a good kit, and a good kit without, good stats isn't going to be super, super helpful. Like, a lot of people are super in love with Snapshot right now. You're going to hate me for doing this, but whenever you bring Snapshot versus these teams that have, Wildstorm, Nightmare Crusher, he's just not gonna pull it out. So Snapshot, B tier. Sprocket. Now, I've been wanting to talk about Sprocket. I built Sprocket. I'm pissed I started building Sprocket. She has to put on parts. You have a chance to resist the parts. If the parts are resisted, you have to wait her cycle rotation again to get her attacks out to try and put out parts again. And she only heals whenever she attacks. So you attack and you put on parts, and you do your next attack. That's your heal. You don't heal like Food Fight whenever everyone else attacks. You only heal whenever she attacks. She has a Disrupt. Disrupt is okay. It's okay. You can bring it versus a Whirlwind to get rid of that heal. You can bring it versus a Spitfire if he's using Flame NATO or whatever that fucking attack is called. But the heal, not a lot of heals. First of all, completely dependent on when she attacks. She has kind of long cooldowns for that to go down. She's a tech type. People can bring Stealth Elf, Super Shot. Everybody should have enough pieces if you've been playing since the beginning of the game. If you've been doing Mirage Tower, everybody should have a Super Shot that could take care of it really easily. Very good unit for invasions. Very good unit for W10. Not the best unit for Arena. C tier. Stealth Elf. Stealth Elf is going to be your counter to all your tech guys. You get all of her pieces instantly. She has really good multipliers on her attacks where she does 2 crits and then she does an AoE crit. She has another crit that can poison. Poison is kind of weak right now, so that's not great, but she also has a cloak where she could shed herself of debuffs if she gets bombed. You could get rid of the bomb debuffs, no problem, but she could take care of the chains. She can take care of, anything she has element advantage against of. She has Nat 3 base stats, and she's overused but not overpowered, like I said before. A tier, because she does a lot of damage and has pretty low cooldowns. Stormblade has long initial cooldowns, really high attack. If he gets a crit, it's pretty much game over, but the initial cooldown is very long, so in order for you to get that attack off, you have to be able to survive for a minute, but if you do survive and you get that crit, it doesn't have to crit on everybody, it just has to crit on one guy for him to proc the AoE. AoEs do a lot of damage with this guy, but again, healers, AoE shielders, AoE defense buffers could possibly counter him. A tier. Super Shot Stealth Elf, extreme one-shot potential out the ass. If she hits with her first skill and it crits, say it does 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. The second hit also has a multiplier of 50% of the first attack, so it could be 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and you could end up doing a lot of damage that way. I have not seen very much that she cannot one-shot. If someone's out there, she can one-shot them. There's only been 1 or 2 times where I've used her on her best runes. She's hit somebody, crit them, and they didn't go down. The charge, it's a charge skill with a lower multiplier of the first attack. She's way better just to use the first attack, so that being said, she's kind of just a one-trick pony. You don't really want to charge the second skill, but she has a leader skill that increases the accuracy in duels, which can be helpful versus Gearshift and stuff whenever you're always glancing. You don't have to worry about glancing as much if you have her for a leader skill. She also has, when awakened, one of those skills, like I said, opens with an AoE, could possibly trigger Gearshift and screw you over in the long run. Also, you can only Q2 attacks afterwards, but I'm just so hellbent on how much damage she can do with that first skill. Easy A tier. Tree Rex can pull aggro, can do decent damage, but at a high mana cost. These tanks that pull aggro are slowly losing meta. They're like, tanks are not that good right now. He doesn't do enough damage to warrant him a space in A tier. I'm going to put him in B tier just because you can always just work on him last. Tri-tip. Medium mana cost, one shot, it's 2-shot potential, alright? I'm going to clarify that it's 2-shot potential because he has an attack that ignores defense that's based on his defense, which is nice, but the multiplier isn't high enough to just deadass one-shot something. You have to use his defense break first, which could be resisted. You could resist the defense break, and then, you know, you could glance on any of your 2 attacks. It's too much RNG rolled into one character. He's decent to have on defense if you're bringing the bombers, like I said, because he has damage potential, but if you're waiting for the bombs to go off, it comes down to like a 2 versus him. Tri-tip is probably going to lose out. C tier. Trigger happy, decent one-shot potential. He is tech. Everybody has Stealth Elf. Everybody could take him out, no problem. So that being said, I've only seen him fully built one time, so I don't know why I put him on the list. If I haven't seen him fully built like a bunch of times, I'm just not even going to do it. And Tough Luck, I've seen Tough Luck fully built all the fucking time. Diminish is buffed, her multipliers are low, her base stats are low, she doesn't really, you know, have short enough cooldowns to be able to spam, she's easy to one-shot, going to be C tier. So anyways, this is going to be my top 4, definite top 4 in the game for Arena: Chain Reaction, Crusher, Nightmare, Wildstorm, A tier, B tier, C tier, shit tier. Now, keep in mind, this entire list is just made purely off opinion. Feel free to disagree with me. Feel free to have a civilized discussion about where someone you thought should have been in the tier list. If you think I put them too low or you think I put them too high, just let me know. If there's guys I haven't seen fully built enough times and you're like, oh, I've seen a Trigger Happy built like 10 times and he does this and this and this, feel free to leave it in the comments. You know, I'm completely open to criticism, civilized discussion. This is just like, I do probably 50 arenas a day. I refresh my gears more than anything just because it's the most fun I have in the game, is being in the arena. I have hit rank 1 in the arena before, even if I didn't end the week at rank 1 arena. Being able to hit rank 1 in arena, that was not at the beginning of the week, by the way, it was like a Thursday. Being able to hit rank 1 in arena is still, you know, hard enough to do without, you know, all these super S tier monsters built, which I do not. I don't have. My chain is only 6-star +2, or I think he's +3 by now, but I mean, I certainly do not have max 6-star legendary runes on everybody. I've just seen these built by certain people, gone against them, assessed what I've seen, and this was the outcome of my tier list. So I hope y'all enjoy, and have a good day.